Welcome to Opkey's biannual advisory webinar. Today we're going to be talking about Workday's R2 release, which is very much in progress right now. So those of you that have joined, you are probably in the throes of preparing for the final push that's coming up on the 20th. Next slide, please. I'll take a minute to just to tell you a little bit about what we're going to cover in today's webinar. So we want to be able to highlight important updates that are in the R2 release. And as Opkey, we are here to help you with making sure that your release is successful, both from a testing perspective and just implementation. And we're here to help. So we'll be highlighting throughout the conversation of how Opkey can help and support your implementation of the release. And then we have two esteemed product leaders that are dedicated to Workday with us today. I'll introduce them in the next slide. We'll have a chance for Q&A. So please do drop your questions in the Q&A chat as the conversation goes. So today on our panel is Deepti Pandey. She is the Director of Product and Innovation for Opkey and a very, very deep knowledgeable expert on all things Workday. And we have Ram Subramanian, EVP of Enterprise Solutions. Ram comes with a very extensive background in enterprise software for HCM specifically and has a very deep knowledge on Workday solutions. So with that, and my name is Nazima Rayani. I am the Senior Director of Product Marketing. I will be in the background, but I will be there to field any of your questions and support any moderation of the questions. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ram first, and I'll let you kick it off, Ram. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Nas. I appreciate you kicking us off. Thanks everyone for joining this call, and I think this is a pretty important time, especially for the customer who are invested in Workday, and especially these two cycles that come in a year comes in different points in the year. But the month of September and October are pretty busy, purely from HR, finance, period end, and multiple things that happen. And I hope you are all getting sufficient time to do it. We're going to talk about what is that big set of things that are coming up. I think what we have done is we're working with across multiple customers. We pulled together a material here that's going to give you the introduction into what you are looking at from an R2 perspective, and what are the exciting things that's coming up, the things that how do you go about planning the item that you want to pay attention to closely, both from an impact perspective, validation, verification perspective, while you are adopting more and more to Workday. And so in a broad summary, there are many items, as you know, that since Workday announced the agent system of record, they're starting to move towards organizing their product a lot more streamlined in a way that it facilitates the way for bringing the future of work in place in HR, and also finance is much more integrated with the rest of the organization, and then the rest of the models within Workday, and that you see more and more. So it almost feels like going through all of them. The amount of work that Workday is doing is pretty significant, both not only from organizing the product from a streamlining perspective, and the new features that they are creating more from a usability perspective, experience perspective, productivity perspective are pretty significant. What we see is, like you always want to see Workday investing more on creating the features, and that's continued to be that case. About 399 new features got added this time, and there are about 251 which are coming in the area of fixed. This is where you see a lot of impact. And then same thing goes to retirement, which is also causing impact if any of you actually are using or in your functions, either HR or finance. So definitely 251 plus 54 is something new for you to watch out from an impact perspective. And then definitely the new features are pretty important to do. What we have done is we have taken those numbers, broken down into exactly how that is laid out across the entire Workday SKUs, As you can see, payroll is leading. You probably know, I think more and more countries are being rolled out from core native payroll perspective, and due to that nature, you actually are getting new features that are added, mostly triggered from the regional payrolls, that in-country payrolls, the native payroll that they are supporting for each other. You will see a lot of that, and then followed by core HR, and then student is actually picking up pretty well. And then that the way that ecosystem integrating also tells that Workday constantly continue to invest in that space. And broadly rest of the areas are quite a bit put together. Yeah, so this is basically what we have observed, and in the way that it also aligns with the various direction that you hear from the rising conferences. From a finance perspective, FA is getting pretty lot of new features that are common along with the procurement and grants. You probably see quite a bit of changes that is coming in procurement right now across the board, and those are super important with the volatile environment that everybody is facing. These should improve those change cycles, change velocity, lot more easy, and then also easy to bringing these hub features in each one of them, going to, we hope, will create a very oriented experience for targeted at the individual personas. From a future setup effort perspective, we wanted to categorize into two parts, how you actually want to look into it. So there are ones that the new features that are out there, the majority of them requires literally no work from a config perspective. They are available for you to pick it up and adapt into, then it will be there. But definitely there is some testing validation requirements you need to do, both from a experience perspective and also from a how it works with the rest of the elements. But there are about 47 requires setup. That means further deep testing and then integration and training that is required to ensure that they are all adapted pretty well. So these are the way that it's organized this time. The way that we are actually going to talk through this entire thing in a bit more detail, how this is organized is what are those features that are high impact. We're not going to go through all of them, but we're going to take few examples of this and then talk through how you would want to approach this. And being a Opkey customer, or how you are planning this, we want to give you few experiences that always works with our customers. We are also a Workday customer, so how we do it and then how our customers do it, hoping to share some of those to help with the broader planning that you are doing. So one is some of the high impact functionality. You probably know this time the government ID, it used to be a couple of step process that was done earlier. So now it's all integrated in one place. So you can actually do the correct action that you can do within this change screen, and then that will take you to directly into editing these features. So I want to talk about two three things in this space. This is an high impact one, not only from cutting the extra steps, and also bringing it from an experience perspective. So let's talk about testing. For example, if you are an RP customer, you would know currently that this legal name change that you probably have one your test cases associated with it. Being RP customer, we do the when you do the actual snapshot before the accepting the release updates, you have a snapshot available, and then post when you run it, Opkey automatically detects this and then tells you the changes, and then in the existing test cases what you need to consider, and also the brand new test cases that are added to ensure that this testing of this is already taken care for you. So this is something that readily available. This is very important from both from a planning perspective, effort involved perspective, that which used to take a lot of time. Now it's all concisely dropped down to this with the discovery and impact that we integrated into one place, which allows you to discover the new ones that are available, and then what that impact that it has to the existing set of test cases. So these with these combination, you can basically have the entire gamut of the change covered by the Opkey product. So this is just one example of how you do it. So there are few things that I want to talk about that are similar in the nature. One other thing is job architecture hub, which is basically there are multiple tasks that we could have done in different screens and different pages, all brought into a single place. So this is a this feature is a highly impactful because it's going to cut down huge amount of roundabout ways that you are doing trying to do the same thing. So now, because of this change, what you would with Opkey Discovery, you will always have this. You have about 7 or 8 test cases automatically added by our discovery engine, and then along with the existing set of test cases that you already have based on the features that you have adapted. So this basically makes it easy on a high impact functionality like this, and you want to focus more on your time on socializing this, yeah, helping it, and every user understand it, every stakeholder understand it, and then adopting them is the energy is ideally you would want to go. And the validation verification whether it's working correctly is something that API basically takes it. And then this automatic discovery test cases actually are inbuilt already to ensure that the validations around this are still accurate and and makes it a worry-free adoption for you. This is another one that which is basically payout expense, even if it is like so in this particular example, I want to talk about how this is different than the previous ones we discussed. This is an high impact, but this screen already existed for you. And then the new one that came in this particular slide, there is a forfeiture adjustment. Basically, when there is accrual that happens, how you want that to be treated. If this is check marked, then you know how this particular time of forfeiture adjustment process has to respond based on the how this is set up. So this particular part of the discovery process, API helps you to identify the UI element that is there, and if it is a required field, it automatically ensure that the test cases that are existing one automatically takes you to the validation of the required element that are needed in the UI, and then everything get added. So our output typically comes as like a green, red, and orange. So you would see a red highlighted, basically telling you that the script is updated with a new UI element. This is this is something that already highlighted and pointed to you for you to take up, and then make the auto heal complete with a human in the loop. So there is an impact analysis that gives you what is the status of that particular adoption, and then it basically brings you in there, and then it shows exactly what is the UI element that got added, and then by pressing auto heal, it gets integrated into the test, the existing test case. So this basically, even though while it's high impact, you can it from the impact to the existing test case, it is no impact, because part of our auto heal, it actually self-healing function that we have built, it heals itself by integrating the UI element that are brand new to the particular screen. So there is multiple examples. This another one that I want to this is a multiple job for contingent worker. This is another field that actually that got added in there. So this is also the same, works the same way, that if there when there is a change, you will get to visualize what the change is, red, green, and if there are no change, it's green, red means impacted. Then you can use the self-heal function to automatically integrate into your existing test case. We have given a lot of the examples of these slides so that you know how that is done, and we also put all of that together in one place. What is that global address validation they have done? These are impactful ones, and automatically we create the test cases for each one of them that you saw in the previous slide. And the same thing with the compensation security account. This is also high impact, how what it used to be, what is now. But with the change, we automatically recognize that without any intervention, but we bring in the human in the loop to ensure that those are getting adjusted. We can move to the next section. These are multiple examples of these things. In here, I wanted to talk about the particular challenges that typically we face as a Workday customer, and also our customers who are using Opkey. One other thing that you constantly you see that constantly Workday's releases are becoming bigger and bigger. In this release alone, there is like about 400, 500 of those items that you need to worry about, both from a new change and then retired. So yeah, when it comes to this size, but the release to release, you do not have a visibility into it until the release document comes up. And with the existing work already in play and the number of initiatives you might have in place, or fixes or changes that you do, or any BOA activity that you do, capacity planning is becoming a very critical one. So what this is something to be clearly understood. While Opkey saves significant amount of time, 80 to 90% of that typical time that is spent in patches, we still talked about, and I showed you the human in the loop method that we are trying to bring in, even if we are doing self healing. You want to account for that time and effort, even to use a smart tool like Opkey. There is still a human in the loop to ensure that that particular changes are still understood and accepted, both from a test case perspective, so that your ongoing test suites are working, and it's validating and certifying the release. And then we are going to show you the example of, for your collaboration with a different stakeholder, both your inbound, outbound, if there are any changes there, and your business partners if you are in the IT organization. Yeah, a lot of collaboration is required from a validation perspective. We actually have a release service document that we actually create part of this, and we're going to show you what it looks like and how it look like, so that that can be used as a collaboration conversation that you have with the different parties, because the release document is not exactly friendly for you to go through and understand everything and share it with everybody, but we simplified that through a release advisory document that actually you can use it for your dialogue with stakeholders, to ensure that wherever you need partnership and collaboration, those conversations can happen easily. The next one is the impact analysis. I talked about this earlier in three categories, that what happens, which is basically the features that are new. We already got you covered. We know what they are, we show you what they are, and then we also show you the list of test cases that we had readily picked up by your discovery, and then so that it becomes part of the existing package. That's number one. Number two, the existing test cases, due to the changes that happen in Workday, what those impacts are. And we use a self-healing feature to ensure that whatever the discovery that we find through, and then document the impact, these are immediately fixed through the self-healing feature. And then there are approval hierarchy changes that are pretty significant. These also will give you what those are through our impact. When you see it, then appropriate folks that actually you probably would not have included in the past, now we try to take you to closer to what exactly that is changing, so that further collaboration, training, communication, change management, anything that need to happen due to the change can happen at a time. And this is basically, these are the critical activities that sometimes they are either underestimated or missed out, leading to a poor release experience. These are the few areas that I wanted to quickly share, that that you want to pay close attention to, because these are typically the blind spots. So Deepthi, can you please take it up, and how Opkey can help pre-release and tenant readiness?
Absolutely. Thanks, Ram. All right, folks. So the release, essentially, this 5-week window starts at least a week before, where you need to prepare your tenant, and make sure that your sandbox or your production is ready to be copied into preview. So the first step is what we do, as recommended by Workday as well. We will send you the reminder emails and do the analysis in the tenant for you. The analysis consists of running a set of reports pre-release to ensure that there are no critical errors, no critical things which you need to fix prior to the release. We will execute those reports, we'll download those reports, analyze, and send you a schedule of how frequently we will be running and what our observations are. Obviously, you might have to, and you will have to act upon the highlighted areas, but that's a big nudge and a level 1 analysis done for you. In addition to this, what we also do is we create, for majority of our clients, a subset of reports. Now, there's no one size fit all. There are few consistent custom reports which we use for features like payroll, wherever our customers have payroll, for domain security policies, for BP custom notifications. There are specific reports which we create. Some are customer specific, some are generic. So there is a set of about 8 custom reports which are Opkey created. We create them in your sandbox tenant, take a snapshot of it, so you have your pre-release snapshot ready. In addition to this, all your standard modules which we implement with Opkey, we will take the snapshot of those modules as well. So all your reports, tenant readiness reports, custom reports, and business processes, we take every pre-snapshot. What Opkey does is, throughout and during the release, the first thing that we do is, in Sandbox Preview, we run our impact assessment again. And what it does is, on various aspects, like what are the security policies which have changed? Are there any new business process changes which we have identified? Any new custom objects we have identified? We compare them and that report gets created. So this is the first level of impact analysis done for you, shared with you. The second thing that we do, obviously, as part of release is your comprehensive and full scope regression testing. And this is where Opkey or any automation tool, Opkey in particular, is really, really essential, because typically to have a release coverage, I have seen, no matter how big or small the clients are, there is there's a suite of 800 plus test cases across modules, which need to and should be running during the release period. Now, as Ram previously highlighted, capacity planning. Business takes the risk of testing the key major focus changes and leaving the remaining. But believe it or not, we do find the defects and errors and changes in the processes where you least expect it. And hence, an automation tool is a must-have during the release period, not only just for functional release testing, but for integrations as well. A company which is running a suite of 40 plus integrations, imagine the effort required to do all those integrations and validate them manually. So obviously, extensive regression is a huge, it's not good to have, but a necessity during this release period, which we do for all our customers. Now, what is the outcome of this regression? The outcome is, obviously, we highlight any functional issues that we find. We cover your existing regression suite that you have in its entirety. But most importantly, so the risk is now averted, but for next release, your regression suite is now updated with all the new features which are there. For example, the one which Ram highlighted previously, where edit government ID, a new feature called correct, has been introduced. In our accelerator, and for all our clients who we did the regression release for this time, those test cases have now automatically been added to your release suite, which means previously, if you were running 1,000 test cases, you automatically will have 1,200 or 1,150, depending on how many new features you adopt in your regression suite. So the coverage of your regression suite, every release keeps on getting increased if you are with Opkey, because this is what we do. As and when the features are added, not only we add it for you, but our golden repository, what we call pre-built library of our test cases and accelerator, gets updated as well. So it's there for you to be used. Then as I said, we update the coverage, and then we send you the detailed comparison reports, which consist of not only your functional areas, but your key business process like payrolls, any payroll runs that you do, any business process runs that you do before and after. We do the detailed comparison report and send it to you. Right. So guys, here is a glimpse of what sort of reports customers get. Reports, whilst we do create all these reports in Opkey, we don't want your business to be logging into Opkey to see everything. So each and every report that we generate gets downloaded into an Excel sheet, into an Excel format. The report that you see, which will soon be converted into a BI dashboard. But for this release, all the clients will be getting a report like this. and it'll highlight all the key impacted areas that you have: business processes, security groups, custom objects, any changes that we notice in your two tenants. So just another glimpse of a change where we are going to say, hey, look, for every security group name, previously, however many domain security policies you had, currently this is the change. These are the members, these are the business processes. So you get to see the usage, the current health of your tenant from security perspective completely. A very good example I always like to give is, it's a very good chance for all our customers to revise and revisit the security groups which have 0 or 1 member. So they say, all right, this security group has 0 members assigned to 3 business processes. Let me check and clean it up. So all those sort of hygienes and health checks we provide on top of what has changed. The other one which our customers find really handy are comparison reports. So I've seen various platforms generate the comparison reports. Some will just give you 2 files. Here's what was before, here's what is now. The beauty of Opkey's comparison reports is that obviously it tells you, as you can see, the percentage of what has matched, what hasn't matched. It will give you row by row analysis of where the differences are. So if we find any unmatched rows, we will highlight it here on a summary page, because the idea is not just me or for Opkey as a platform to give you a dump of reports, but actionable items. So each and every impact report and comparison report that you will see will have a summary page with very, very specifically categorized actionable items that you and your business can take and incorporate. So these are some of the ways with Opkey as a platform. As I always say, release is a mad rush for a lot of customers and clients. And every single day and every week, the effort we have here is to make sure that your life is made easy by using Opkey. So these are the highlights of the release and how we can help. Let me see if we have any questions that we might want answered.
Nothing yet, Deepthi. We're good to go.
All right. So these are what I wanted to highlight from Opkey features perspective. Now, a few of the things which now there are some of the features which I have added in this deck, and Ram didn't go through it because it isn't probably something that everyone would use to the highest level, but I have specifically added because I wanted to bring in here. And we use it on a day-to-day basis, and that is why I thought I'll highlight it, is the new report fields which Workday has added. So worker history event is a very, very common event, and I think most of the platforms which use any sort of testing or automation for Workday use worker history event custom report in one way or the other. So at Opkey, we use it for multiple purpose. We use it to generate key transaction logs of your tenant to make sure and to check what level of, for example, what various job profiles you have, what various geography you have people in, so on and so forth. So we can draft and craft the synthetic data which mimics your production data. Now, the reason I brought this up is calculated fields are a nuisance, we know. So with this report being heavily used, Workday has, in this release, given the calculated fields, the fields which previously we used to create as calculated fields, but now they are by default in the report which can be added. So I've spoken to multiple people over the last 2 or 3 weeks during the release window, and this is one thing, particularly for this report, which is very heavily used, which everyone found very, very useful. So if you are using this report as well and you have some calculated fields, perhaps it's time to retire some of them because Workday has given you the default fields in there. Security, Ram did sort of go through it, but I just wanted to highlight that security, because for Opkey, particularly as a third-party integration with your Workday, security is the center of everything. And I think, I don't know if you've seen it on our website, we always say we worship clients' data. So any security enhancement that is given by Workday is usually welcome because it just makes people like us our job easier. So Workday Compensation Security Enhancement Security Report, a very, very tight guardrails they have now put in here to make sure that only the people who are allowed to see the compensation data can see it. The other, just something I wanted to highlight is we have a feature called auto data generation in Opkey. What it does is, if you are a resident of a country, say India, I have to fill in the address while hiring an employee. The ADG is trained to populate a data specific to the country, which includes a postal code, which includes the phone number. So all these customizations are done by ADG so that we are not using, and we clearly cannot and should not, no one should be using the real-time data. So our synthetic data, auto data generation capability does it. Now, this feature which Workday has given, where with this release, you can validate the address for all these countries, has made our job really, really easy, purely because for whatever reason, if any combination, say the landline code is not correct, or in ADG for a country like Uganda, we have a feature, we have a postal code which is not correct, the test case won't fail, it will immediately be validated. So again, we did require some updates. We did had to do some updates to our ADG on this country list. That is why that was the sole reason we put it here, that for this whole list of countries, our ADG after this release will be updated to make sure that we have valid combinations of various postcodes, phone numbers, and all these things. These were some of the features worth highlighting, and how our, as I said before, our pre-built accelerator and test case libraries have all been updated with every impact that you see here and much more. So an advisory has already been sent to the existing clients, and if you're not a client, by all means, you can request one, which will have many more features like this with their impact and the detailed analysis with screenshots, which hopefully will help you. That's it. That's what I wanted to highlight.
Thank you so much, Deepthi and Ram. This was excellent. And I really like the fact that you brought some very real world experience and examples of what you've observed with our customers. So very, very helpful. I don't see any questions in the chat, but did you have any closing comments before we close the webinar, Ram?
Yeah, thanks again for everybody attending. Thank you, Nas, for hosting. And I think this is something that we believe our goal is to make sure as Workday bringing more and more impactful, bountiful of features and updates. We want to make sure it shouldn't be the amount of features and amount of changes that comes in shouldn't translate into the amount of work. Our goal is to basically cut it down. You still go through this with a lot of ease and make it lesser and lesser of effort from your side, so that you still get to the features quickly with the peace of mind of this is certified and validated by Opkey. And thanks again for listening to us.
Thank you, Ram. Excellent close. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.